Lesson 18, Ratio word problems. Remember, for the ratio word problems, what we do is the box or the ratio table so that we can organize the information that is given. Make sure you read first all the problem, and then once you understand them, you can start pulling out the information. So it says, the ratio between dogs and cats is 2 to 13. If there were 300 cats and dogs, that's total, how many were dogs? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our table. And we're going to put the two categories of the problem. So we have dogs and cats, and we have total. Then for the columns, we have a ratio column and also an actual count column. So in there, we're going to put how many actually there are. So it says that the ratio is 2 to 13. So we put it like that. And then we add to find the total ratio. In this case, it's 15. And then it says that there were 300 dogs and cats. That's total. So we put 300 there. And then we put the X where the question is. And in this case is how many dogs. So we put the X there. Now notice that in this case, the 13, we're not going to use it anymore. We just use it for the 15. And so we do now a proportion. And we're going to just put the 2 over the 15 equals the X over the 300. Notice how easy it is. We just have to create a proportion with the information given. And then remember that to find the X, we just have to cross multiply. So we'll multiply the 300 times the 2 and then divide by the 15, all in one step. And then to solve that, we just divide. 15 divided by 15 is 1, and 300 divided by 15 is 20. Finally, we multiply 20 times 2, and that is 40. So there were 40 dogs when there were a total of 300 cats and dogs. In this next exercise, we're going to do exactly the same. Now, this might look a little bit different because it has a chemistry component, but you don't have to get scared about it. It's just exactly the same idea. We're going to see how the sulfur relates to other materials to create a new compound. And that will be the two categories of things we have, and the new compound will be our total. So let's read it and try to pull out the information. It says, if it took 500 grams of sulfur to make 2,500 grams of the new compound, so we put 500 here and 2,500 here of the new compound, how many grams of other materials are needed to make 6,000? So 6,000 goes here, because that's a new combination. So we have two different mixtures, one where we use 500 grams of sulfur and we create 2,500 grams of the new compound. But then we also have another mixture where we have a total of 6,000 grams of the new compound. So we have to start by finding how many grams of the other materials we're using. So if we subtract 2,500 minus 500, that's 2,000. And then we also need to put clearly where is our X. What are they asking? It says how many grams of other materials. So my X is here. So in this case, what we don't need is the sulfur. We don't need it anymore. So we'll start by writing the proportion. 2,000 over 2,500 equals X over 6,000. When we cross multiply, we get 6,000 times 2,000 over 2,500. And if we divide that, we could cancel zeros here because we divide by 100, both on the top and the bottom. Then we can divide by 5, which would be 5 and 4 on the top. And then we can divide by 5 again, which would be 1,200. Then we just multiply 1,200 times 4, which is 4,800 grams of other materials. And that would be it. Very simple exercise. It's just the same kind of idea, but using or applying it in chemistry as well. In the second part of this lesson, we have similar triangles. What we have to remember about similar triangles is that they have the same angles. The angles are equal, but the sides are different. Now, because the angles are equal, then the sides are also proportional. What we have to do is notice that this angle has only one line and this one also. So the sides that are opposite to those angles are going to be proportional. So we put b over y equals, and then the one that has two lines is c, is proportional to the one that is across from the ones with two lines, which is z. And then a, which is the one that is across from 3, and x. And using two of those ratios, we can find the unknown variable. So let's look at one example. In this example, we can see that they are similar triangles because all of 3 angles are exactly the same. And so the sides are proportional. So what we have to see is that 2 of these, we have 2 unknown. So there will be 2 sides, the 6 and the 7, that are with the letters. So we have to work with 4 and 3. So that's going to be like our main fraction. And 4/3 is the same as 6, in this case, 6 over x. Notice that 6 is opposite to the one angle with 3, and x is opposite to the angle with 3, and so those two go together. Now we cross multiply. 6 times 3 is 18 divided by 4, which reduce would be 9/2. Remember always to reduce your answer. Now we use the same fraction, 4/3, to then find m, and we have to put 7 over m. Now notice the order is important. If we put 4 first, then 7 has to also go first on the top. If we put 3 first, then m should go on the top. So we do the same, we cross multiply. 3 times 7 is 21 divided by 4, and in this case we can't simplify, so we leave it like that, and those will be our 2 answers. Pretty simple exercise, okay? If you need to watch it again, do so, and we'll see you in the next video.